Hey everybody, and welcome to a deep dive all about how to keep our pets happy and healthy right here in Santa Maria. We all know Santa Maria is such a cool place with, the coast and the valley and all the farms. But that does mean thinking about some pretty unique stuff when it comes to our furry family members.
That's for sure. I think a lot of folks here in Santa Maria don't realize just how much their pet's health depends on understanding the environment here. It goes way beyond, just the typical vet visit.
Okay, so like what kind of stuff are we talking about here? I'm ready for all the insider tips.
Well, for starters, just think about the valley itself. Those temperature swings we get can be rough on pets. We see a lot of heat stroke cases, especially with certain breeds.
Yeah, that makes sense. It definitely gets a lot hotter here compared to living on the coast. So besides heat stroke, what other things are really specific to Santa Maria?
Oh man, agriculture is another big one. We're talking about pesticides and fertilizers, which can be super dangerous if a pet eats them or even just absorbs them through their skin. Plus, there's always the risk of running into wildlife. Skunks and raccoons, coyotes even. Living in a more rural area means we have to be extra careful about all that.
Wow, I honestly never really thought about that stuff before.
And don't forget about the marine layer. You know that coastal fog can make some skin and breathing problems worse for some animals. It's definitely something to keep in mind if you have a pet with allergies or any kind of breathing issues.
So it sounds like Santa Maria has all these environmental things that we as pet owners need to be aware of. But is there any good news? Like, how can we actually make sure our pets do well even with all these challenges?
That's where it all comes down to finding a vet who really gets Santa Maria's unique environment. You want someone who's seen it all when it comes to valley-related conditions, someone who knows about those risks from agriculture, and someone who's prepared for the kind of emergencies that are more common out here in the country.
So it's not as simple as just picking the closest vet or the one with the best website.
Right. It's all about finding a vet who's like your partner, someone who's in it with you and really understands the specific things your pet might have to deal with here.
Okay, I'm starting to see how important this is. But how do we actually find a vet who really knows Santa Maria that well?
Don't be afraid to ask questions. When you're checking out different vets, ask about their experience with stuff like valley fever or heat stroke or pesticide exposure. Find out what their emergency plan is, especially if you live in a more remote part of town. Being proactive and finding a vet who's just as invested in your pet's health as you are is key.
That's really helpful advice. It sounds like we need to do our research and really stand up for our pets. But besides finding the right vet, what else can we do to be responsible pet owners here in Santa Maria?
Well, think about it this way. The things that make Santa Maria challenging for pets also give us a chance to try something different, a more holistic way of taking care of them.
Okay, I like where this is going. Tell me more about this whole holistic approach.
It's about thinking of your pet's health as a whole package. Not just their physical health, but also their mental and emotional health. You got to understand how their environment, their food, their activity level, all of it plays a part in keeping them healthy. And in Santa Maria, where the environment is so unique, this holistic approach is even more important.
So it's like Santa Maria is pushing us to be better, more thoughtful pet owners.
Exactly. We have to be more in tune with what our pets need and more aware of the risks in their environment. And when we take care of them with that mindset, it can bring us closer to our pets and help us appreciate their individual needs even more.
I really like that way of looking at it. So we've talked about the challenges, but I want to learn more about how to actually do this whole holistic thing. What does it really look like day to day?
Well, it starts with understanding the specific risks your pet might face right here in Santa Maria. And we'll dive into those more after a quick break.
All right, so we're back and ready to really dig into this whole holistic pet care thing, Santa Maria style. I'm already feeling like I know so much more about how to keep my pets safe.
I think that's the biggest thing, right? Just knowing what to watch out for can make all the difference. So let's talk about some actual steps you can take. Seasonal health assessments are super important. Here in Santa Maria, with the crazy temperature changes between seasons, we have to be extra careful.
I bet springtime is a really tough time with all the pollen and those crazy valley winds.
Yeah. Springtime can be rough for allergies. And those sundowner winds you mentioned kick up a ton of dust and allergens, which can really mess with a pet's breathing. So taking your pet to the vet in the spring can help catch any problems early on.
Okay, so seasonal checkups are a must. What else should we be thinking about for holistic pet care?
Remember those environmental screenings we talked about? Those are like a secret weapon for finding hidden dangers in your pet's environment. We can test for things like pesticides or heavy metals or even certain types of mold or bacteria in the soil.
So it's not just about what they eat or how much exercise they get. It's about understanding all the invisible stuff that could be affecting them. This is so interesting.
It really is. And the cool thing about these screenings is that we can tailor them to your pet's lifestyle. Like if your dog loves running around in fields, we might focus on testing for agricultural chemicals. Or if your cat is an indoor-outdoor kind of cat, we might look for different kinds of environmental toxins.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like a personalized health report based on where they live and play.
Yeah.
But I got to be honest, all this talk about potential dangers is making me a little nervous. What are some of the most common health problems we see in Santa Maria pets, and what should we be watching out for?
Well, valley fever is a big one here. It's a fungal infection from spores that live in the soil. And our dry, dusty climate makes it more common. Some breeds, like German Shepherds and Terriers, seem to be more prone to it.
Oh, wow. So what are the signs of valley fever? I'll be able to catch it early if my dog starts acting weird.
Keep an eye out for things like coughing, or if they seem tired or not hungry, or even if they start limping. Basically, any big change in their normal behavior or energy level could be a warning sign.
So if we notice anything off, it's better to be safe than sorry and take them to the vet.
Absolutely. With valley fever, catching it early and starting treatment right away is super important. And speaking of treatment, there are some new antifungal meds that seem to be working really well and can make a big difference.
That's good to hear. So valley fever is definitely something to keep in mind. What other health issues are common in Santa Maria?
Skin allergies are another one we see all the time. That coastal fog mixed with all the different allergens we have here can cause all sorts of skin problems for pets.
My dog always gets itchy in the spring. Could that be allergies?
It's definitely possible. If you notice your pet scratching a lot or licking their paws, or if they get any weird rashes, it's a good idea to have your vet check it out. There are a bunch of good treatments out there, from special shampoos to allergy medicine.
Okay, so valley fever and skin allergies are on the list. Anything else we should know about?
Breathing problems can be an issue too, possibly because of the dust and stuff in the air from agriculture and those strong sundowner winds. If your pet starts coughing or wheezing or having trouble breathing, especially after being outside, you need to get them to the vet right away.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground. It's clear that Santa Maria has some unique challenges for pet owners. But it sounds like knowing what to expect is half the battle. What's the most important thing you want listeners to take away from all this?
I think the biggest thing is to find a vet who really understands Santa Maria and who believes in that whole holistic approach to pet care. They'll be your go-to person for figuring all this out and making sure your pet stays healthy and happy for years to come.
That's great advice. All right, listeners, are you feeling as informed and ready to take action as I am? But before we wrap up, I want to go back to something we talked about before. The idea that Santa Maria's challenges can actually make our bond with our pets stronger.
Absolutely. Because we have to be so turned into our pets and their environment here, it naturally helps us understand them on a deeper level.
So in a way, Santa Maria's unique environment can actually bring us closer to our pets.
Exactly. It's all about being present and observant and proactive. It's about seeing our pets not just as furry friends, but as individuals with their own specific needs. And when we do that, it makes our lives and their lives better.
I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's one last thought-provoking question or something you'd like listeners to think about?
I'd say take a minute and think about your pet's lifestyle. What are the specific risks they might face here in Santa Maria? What can you do today to lessen those risks and help them stay healthy? Maybe it's scheduling that seasonal checkup, or talking to your vet about environmental screenings, or even just being more aware of when you take your dog for a walk. Every little bit helps.
That's a great point. And remember, all you pet parents out there in Santa Maria, you're not alone in this. We have a fantastic community of vets and trainers and other pet lovers who are here to help. So go out there and enjoy our beautiful city with your furry friends and keep those tails wagging.
You know, it's funny thinking back to how we started talking about all the challenges, but now I'm just feeling really positive about how much we can actually do to help our pets thrive here.
I think that's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Santa Maria has its quirks for sure, but when we understand those quirks, we can make smart choices and be the best pet parents we can be.
Exactly. And it's not just about avoiding the bad stuff. There's so much good stuff here, too, like all those awesome dog parks and hiking trails.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Santa Maria is a great place to get outdoors with your pets. But even then, you got to think about that Santa Maria environment. Like with the heat in the valley, you have to be careful about what time of day you're out there.
So like sticking to early mornings or evenings when it's cooler.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And always make sure they have plenty of water, especially in the summer. Makes sense.
Yeah,
So even when we're out having fun, we still got to keep those Santa Maria things in mind.
definitely. And that goes for everything, from what kind of flea and tick medicine you use to how you groom them.
Oh yeah, speaking of grooming, I've heard that some types of fur need extra attention here in Santa Maria.
That's true. Like dogs with those thick double coats might need more brushing to keep their fur from getting matted, especially when it's windy. And for pets with shorter coats, you might want to put sunscreen on their noses and ears when the sun is really strong.
Wow, who knew? It seems like every part of pet care has a special Santa Maria twist.
I guess you could say that. It's all about adapting to what makes Santa Maria unique.
And by doing that, we can learn to really understand what our pets need.
Exactly. It's like we're on this journey of discovery together with our pets.
That's a great way to think about it.
Mm.
Well, everyone, I hope you're leaving this deep dive feeling as inspired and informed as I am. We've talked about the challenges and discovered some great opportunities and learned some practical tips for helping our pets do well in Santa Maria.
And don't forget, we have the power to make a difference. We just have to use what we know to make good choices for our pets.
Perfectly said. All right, everyone, that's it for our deep dive. Keep those tails wagging, Santa Maria.